Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about my favorite Tommy Oliver and Power Rangers history. So I've always planned to make a bunch of Tommy videos because Tommy is my favorite Power Ranger. And I've just been like behind and everything because I barely put out like any more Power Ranger videos and stuff. Like I still have the finale of Lost Galaxy recorded the audio, but I haven't like did the templates and for the pictures and stuff like that. And so like I've just been behind these last couple of like months. And I'm so behind on all the Power Ranger content I want to dish out and everything. And yes, there is plenty of Power Ranger content coming in the future in 2023 because I love Power Rangers to death. I've said before in the past in my videos, it pisses me off when everybody calls this like a kid's show and they don't respect it, but yet they can respect X-Men, the Avengers, Justice League when they're all technically the same, a group of heroes and stuff. And they have their kiddie moments and they have their serious moments, and and I don't understand why people dish on Power Rangers, but they don't dish on like the other ones. And so with the passing of Jason David Franks and everything, I wanted to do like a tribute like video, but I couldn't figure out which episode I wanted to pick and stuff like that because there's so many good ones. And originally I was just gonna pick one and then review that episode. But then I thought, you know what, why don't I do like an homage and everything? And I can just quickly like run down what the episode's about and why it's my favorite and stuff like that. Because it would be a whole lot faster, and also it's December and I'm still running out of time in my videos. All my flash drives are filled up with audio and other stuff, so I can't put no more like audio onto them so that I can just like save it and then do those videos later. Trust me, I've had audios recorded for 2 years now and TV shows I haven't even talked about yet or even slightly mentioned and stuff. That's how backed up I am. Like, yeah, you all like, well, you put out videos every day. There's a reason. I'm trying to get that stuff out so I can get to those audios I haven't even done yet and stuff. And so this will just be like an homage to both Jason David Franks and like, Tommy Oliver. Like my favorite, like, Power Ranger episodes that he's been in. The dude has some really great episodes, and because he was the leader for so long, or like a mentor, or the additional ranger, he has a lot of solo episodes and stuff. And so this is just gonna be like a quick review. In the future, one day I'll do like a longer review and stuff, but this is just gonna be a quick review and like, just some of my favorites of all time. Now, there's no ranking system. I'm just going to do this as random or probably just down the line. So let's start it off with the one that started it all, Green with Envy. This was how you make an introduction. Before this episode, this is like the 17th episode, it's a 5-parter. And so before then, we just had our 5 core rangers. Our 5 core rangers, even though they're kids with attitude or teens with attitude, they're really more goody-goody two-shoes. And it just follows the pattern. Rita sends down a monster, the Rangers fight him, and it's done. Boom. You know what I'm saying? We have a couple of life lessons and stuff, and they're really good kids. Then all of a sudden, Rita wants to make a Green Ranger. She has the green power coin and everything. Never knew about that. See, I never watched the Sentai and everything. And so, like, in comes Tommy Oliver and everything. And so, like, he kind of like, has the eye of Kimberly, and Bulk and Skull are being buttheads, so he defends her and everything. And then Rita sends down some putties to test him, and his martial arts is like amazing. So then she captures him and she brainwashes him to turn him into the very first villain Power Ranger. And so, like, this dude made a entrance. The Rangers in the Zord, I think they might be fighting Goldar or something like that. And so, everything, they're in the cockpit, and then all of a sudden, we see this dude just leap up in the air in a green costume, and he's like, surprise! And then he just starts whooping on them inside the cockpit of the Zord. There are sparks flying, and of course, they do that little tumble fall thing out the Zord. Man, I miss that. I miss when they fall out their Zords from high in the sky. And then we see the dude in green just like descending down, landing on the ground, and he just whoops on them. And I was like, holy crap, and everything. Not to mention how awesome looking his costume is. Green's never really been my favorite color, but I've always liked his costume. It's slightly similar to the other Power Ranger costumes, but also vastly different. He doesn't have a blade blaster. His morpher is gold instead of silver. His symbol on the power coin isn't even that of an animal. It's just like that of a footprint or like a scale or whatever. His like gloves and boots, they're different pattern than that of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He has gold bands around his arms, and that dude had a gold vest. Like, come on now. And so, like, you know what I'm saying? It just made him look so much cooler and stuff. And it was just like the way you make an entrance for that of a Dark Ranger. And the dude was seriously bad. He was brainwashed the entire time. He taunted the Rangers when they would be in their civilian forms. He treated Kimberly like crap. He disabled Alpha and everything, just ripped his circuit straight out his back and stuff. And what he did to Zordon, he just sent him to like another dimension to where the Rangers could not find him. They were literally lost. They did not have their mentor to guide them, and they didn't even have Alpha to assist them. And it took them a while to get back on their feet. And they was just kind of like worried and stuff, because he had also trashed the command center and stuff. No, wait, he didn't rip the cores out of Alpha. He ripped the cores out of the computer terminals. He put like a disk inside Alpha. I guess that would have been too gruesome to rip Alpha apart and stuff. But yeah, now I remember he was ripping the cores out of the consoles and everything. And so, like, then next thing you know, Rita gives him the Sword of Darkness. And that sword has such a great design. Why hasn't Hasbro or Bandai ever made that thing yet? And I forget exactly what he says, but he said something like, feel the wrath of the Sword of Darkness. And then he just like shoots it into the ground and smoke comes up. And it's just like, it was just awesome. And then not only that, but he captured the leader, the Red Ranger, Jason, and sent him to Rita's dark dimension, where he was tortured by Goldar. He was unable to morph and had to fight Goldar by himself, and it was a tough battle for his behind. It was to the point where Goldar was really about to like kill this dude, until Billy and then was able to finally lock onto his signal and teleport him out. And so like, then they gave him another cool weapon, man. They gave him the Dragon Dagger. The Dragon Dagger is sweet. I have the legacy version of it. I don't have the Hasbro. What's the point of me buying two? You know what I'm saying? Plus, one's lightweight and the other one has die cast. And the newer one they got, oh, it's kind of like a different color. So I'm just not for that. And so it was cool, man. It was like a dagger that played music. It was a flute. And then they gave him a Zord, and his Zord was magnificent. I always wonder, why was his Zord black if he was the Green Ranger? And he never really did the cockpit thing. And it was even cooler that they made him grow. It's like, dude, it's like a human went to like giant size. And it's just like, how did that not stretch him and like kill him and stuff? But then when Jason was like captured and stuff, it was also cool to see Zack step up as like the new leader temporarily. And Zack don't play around, man. When when Tommy came to like fight their behind, for some reason, Zack just called on like the Zords, and then he formed a Megazord, and that dude tried to stomp on Tommy when Tommy was like small. It's like, Zack, you tried to squish that man. And so once the Rangers found out finally who the Green Ranger was, they tried to talk to him and everything, but it didn't work. So with his Zord in hand, he wreaked havoc, and the Rangers had a hard time fighting him. Then Jason, like our boss man, is all like, I'm gonna handle him one-on-one. Jumps out of his Zord and he takes on Tommy. And it was just an epic Sentai battle and stuff. And it was just like awesome. And in the way he destroyed, like, the powers, or he deflected, like, Tommy's weapons was just cool. It's the first time we ever saw Jason's sword light up and do like a laser form type thing. And then so after that, they went to the Sentai stuff. And so he just used it. I always wondered, I was like, why does it look different? See, back in those days, I didn't know it was based on a Japanese show. So I'm like, why does the material look different in the suits? And so he just blasts the power sword. Tommy's back to normal. He demorphs. And then they all demorph. And this one was kind of weird because Trini's wearing two completely different outfits. When she morphed, she had one outfit. And then when she demorphed, she had a second one. I think even Jason did too. So I'm not sure what the world was up with that. And then something, okay, the Green Ranger's done. Oh man, that sucks. But then Zordon's all like, he is the sixth member of your team. And I was just like, and then so they all morphed together and did their little like poses and talking. I was just like, I used to get so hyped back in the days of Power Rangers. It had so much epicness. There was like a pattern, a formula, and it got you cranked. My next favorite Tommy episode is probably one that most people wouldn't suspect. It's the Spirit of Flower. So this is not really a Tommy episode, it's a Kimberly episode. Kimberly was designing a flower float for Angel Grove Parade, right? And the putties, they completely trash it, and it breaks the heart of Kimberly. Now, I don't think her and Tommy were dating at this time. They were just like cozying up and liking each other. And what makes this like an episode I like so much about Tommy is that it hurt him so bad to see Kimberly in tears and just so upset that he decided he was gonna fix the float along with Alpha. Which makes a really comedic thing with Alpha, because Alpha glues his hand to that of the glue. And I just thought that was the most kindest, sweetest like thing Tommy could do to Kimberly and stuff. It's like, he just wanted to like, put that smile back on her face and give her hopes back up and stuff. And it was just like the kindest, like most like gentleman, like Prince Charming thing a person can do. So I always like that side that him, he is gallant, he is strong, he is fierce, and he does have a bit of a temper, but he also has a sweet side to him. And it was just like I was not expecting him to do that and stuff. The next episode is the Green Candle, the one that broke so many people's hearts, man. It broke people's hearts. It's when Tommy lost his powers. See, when he was in the dark, when he was on with Rita back in the day, he touched like, the wax that makes the green candle. Her being so pissed off at like Tommy, she wants one less ranger. So she has Finster make a candle out the wax and she starts burning it. Because of that, his powers start to drain. Then she starts framing Tommy. She sends down some type of Cyclops type monster that turns into Dragon Zord. He's destroying the town and the Rangers don't know what's up. They think maybe Tommy might be evil again. So in order to stop the candle, Zordon sends somebody into the dark dimension. He sends Jason, and Jason is trying his best to fight like Goldar, so he can get like, the candle back and stuff. But, the Cyclops monster is still doing his thing. So Tommy goes in his Zord. And it's the first time we see him in the cockpit and everything. And Tommy is just trying his best to, like, fight this Cyclops monster as his powers are draining and stuff. But Jason was unsuccessful. And as a result, we see, it felt like he was dying, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really did. It was like, but he was just losing his power. But it felt like it was about to be like a funeral for like a ranger or something. And we see him all weak and tired, his powers drained in the command center. And Zordon tells him, transfer your powers to like another ranger so that she doesn't take them completely and stuff. And so he gives him to Jason, and Jason has like the gold power vest and the dragon dagger and coin. This is the second time we've ever seen Jason like that. And then it's was neat. We see that without the vest, like the Green Ranger actually has that diamond pattern on his chest like the other Rangers. And he's feeling all weak, and boom, powers are like gone, man. And it was just like a sad scene, and he just left the show. And I'm like, why did he leave the show and everything? The next episode is Return of an Old Friend. I was not suspecting to see Tommy ever come back, and he did. And it was just like, dude, he's back. And he got a ponytail now. Thank God he doesn't have that mullet no more. And so, like, it's Parents' Day at the youth center, and Rita, like, she sends the parents to, like, the dark dimension, and, like, she had Billy still, like, the dragon dagger, and, like, Goldar, he has the ranger. Well, he has the ranger's parents, and he tells them straight up, either give up your power coins or say bye bye to your parents and everything. And so, like, the Rangers, they give up their power coins. I was like, holy crap, dude, like, what did they just do? And then so Goldar, he, like, he lies, 'cause that's what the evil person does and stuff. And he takes the power coins, and he takes the parents, and he leaves. But Jason had a spare. He had the green power coin, and he hid it. And so that's the, you see Tommy coming in the youth center. It's all like, whoa, where's everybody at? And so, they tell him, they need his help to get the power coins back and stuff. And so, like, he's like, whatever, man, like, I'll do whatever it takes and stuff like that. But he has no powers. And the green power coin is pretty much zapped of all his energy. So Zordon uses his energy to restore the Green Rangers temporarily. So next thing we know, the man is back in the green outfit. And, he's able to get the power coins back and everything. And I don't know if this was the episode where he has, like, fake chocolate candy for the power coin. I know that's one episode they do. I don't know which one it is. And then next thing you know, they're all like, hey, we can keep doing this over and over. Tommy, you can have your powers back and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And it's like, oh man, that's awesome. Tommy is like back and everything. Next is White Light. So I didn't want to do another downer of Tommy losing his Green Ranger powers again. And so what made this episode so cool is, like, there was this mysterious White Ranger that was supposed to appear. Zordon and Alpha has gone silent. They shut down the command center. They're MIA, right? And the Rangers don't know what the world is going on and stuff. And so Tommy is supposed to come back. But chaos, like, happens and stuff, right? And so, like, the Rangers are very, very, very confused and stuff about what's going on. And so Billy was able to get into the command center, and he sees that Alpha and Zordon are building a White Ranger. It is mysterious. We don't know who it is and stuff. But what made it even more creepier is that we assumed that Lord Zed had teleported Tommy from the beach and everything, because he said he was going to do it. And so Billy tells the Rangers, hey, they're making another Ranger. And they're pissed. They're like, why can't this be Tommy and stuff? And so, like, next thing you know, Zordon gives them the speech as they giving him the resting bee face and everything. And so next thing you know, the helmet comes off. And we don't know who it is because we don't get to see the person's face. But Kimberly faints. You probably should guess who it is. It's Tommy. And the dude has an awesome White Ranger outfit. It's all white. It has different gloves and boots from the other Power Rangers. The helmet is completely redesigned. He has a sword that talks to him. And he has a black and gold vest. Now, at that time, I had no idea this Ranger was based on a different Sentai. By this time, I did know that Power Rangers was based off a Japanese show. I just didn't know what exactly it entailed. I had no idea this was supposed to be for another part of Rangers, because they had, at this time, the Thunder Zords and stuff. And so, like, I was always weirded out by why his costume looks dramatically different than the others. But who cares? It was just an awesome costume. It's one of the better outfits of Power Rangers costumes. But what was shocking is that he reveals that Tommy is the new leader of the Power Rangers. And I'm just kind of like, wait, what? What about Jason? And Jason seems totally okay with it. And so what was always weird about it is like, I always wonder what would Jason, how does Jason truly feel about Tommy taking over as like leader of the Power Rangers? Well, we'll never truly know because after this episode, Jason, Zach, and Trini's voice started to sound really different. I didn't know what the world was going on. And it turns out those three had left. And, not only did they leave, but then that's when they started bringing in Aisha, Rocky, and Adam. And, with this episode, it was just kind of like, also, it was cool him talking to like Saba in the Zord. The White Tiger, my God, that was great. I love that Zord. And it turns into a Megazord. He has his own Megazord. They made the White Ranger one of the coolest things ever. But I also feel like this is probably part of the rift between JDF and Austin St. John, because it's kind of like, dude, I'm getting demoted to second in command. But we all know it had to do with money disputes and also falling out. Austin revealed on Power Rangers Playback what helped start the rift even further was like, all the Rangers, all six of them, the cast decided to leave. But then he says somebody went behind their backs and went to Saban, and that person was JDF, and then that's why Billy, Kimberly, and Tommy stayed, and he's just been pissed ever since. And those two and their rift and like whatever. And so like, I mean, I understand they wanted more money and they was willing to walk and everything, but at the same time, it's kind of like, they're acting, they got a job, they're making money, and even though they ain't making that much, it's kind of like, what do? You know what I'm saying? The next is Mighty Morphin, Return of the Green Ranger. This was a cool but yet shocking episode. It's a 3-parter. And this happened mainly because the Rangers were in Australia at that time filming the movie. So that's why a lot of the scenery looks different and stuff. And so what was so cool about this is that Rita and Zed, they send down the Wizard of Deception. And so I think there's like really no real Sentai footage except for like Zord stuff and stuff. But like basically what he does is that he brainwashes Bulk and Skull to get a lock of Tommy's hair so that he clones the Green Ranger and stuff. Tommy is now ill for the rest of the episode as a result of this. And the evil Green Ranger, he tricks the other Rangers and sends them back in time to the 18th century. There, they have to run around with no powers and stuff like that as giant rats are following them. The giant rats look terrible. They look so terrible, they look terrible. The giant rats were actually supposed to be the monsters for the Power Rangers movie. Thank God they changed that. And then so finally, Tommy comes face to face with his evil self. They throw some banter and then they morph. And that was awesome. And they go hand to hand fighting. And I love it. Sparks were flying as they hit each other. It was cool. It was epic. But then in the next episode, the wizard wants the Dragon Zord and he summons it after all that time. Apparently it was like fine and everything. And I guess it's still around even till this day. And so they fight some more, but Tommy is no match for the Dragon Zord. And then he's able to convince his evil self to turn good and everything. And so they double team that of like, the wizard. The clone goes back in time and that's where he stays to help protect like the people and stuff. It was a really cool episode nobody saw coming. The next episode is from Power Rangers Zeo, and it is Inner Spirit. So this is kind of a conclusion to the Mighty Morphin episode, or I should say Alien Rangers, when they had to go on their quest to find their Zeo crystals. During that, young Tommy met a man named, what is his name? Sam Trueheart, a Native American man. And so like, in this episode, Tommy's having some bad nightmares and everything of like the Zords being like destroyed in battle or something like that. And so he fears that. Well, next thing you know, like Zed, not Zed, but Mondo, like, sends down a monster and all this other stuff. And the Zords are pretty much messed up. And so Billy lets him know that he created a Zord personally for that of Tommy, the Red Battle Zord. The Red Battle Zord is awesome. It looks amazing. It has like a boxer motif. And so Billy, he thought about that by like a psychic uplink that the Aqua Rangers or Alien Rangers like use for their Zords. And so with this thing, it has to deal with Tommy's mental state. He has to stay totally focused and he has to fight alongside with the Zord instead of trying to command it. Well, Tommy is extremely stressed out at this point, especially with the nightmares. And he's struggling to operate the Zord. I think he's trying to do it by force, but True Heart tells him just to relax and see the Zord as kind of like an extension of himself. And so when Tommy is finally, it's a good episode because of the mental struggle Tommy has to endure. It's weird seeing Tommy like this because we know Tommy to be a very valiant and brave ranger. But even the bravest of people have their woe is me's. And so like with this, he has to like find the inner strength within himself. And when he finally gets over his mental block, he is now able to use the Red Battle Zord. But they tell him straight up the Zords are going to take a while to get fixed. So it's up to Tommy for the next couple of episodes to fight the forces of evil with just that Zord. And he has to stay mentally focused. Another thing that was cool that led up to these episodes was when he found his half brother of Native American descent. And, and that was really cool because that's his real brother in real life who sadly passed away. Now these two are reunited in heaven. The next cool episode was in Wild Forest. Tommy comes back and Forever Red as the leader of the Red Ranger squad that's supposed to stop the fallen machine empire. This was always a cool episode because we got to see 10 Red Rangers. And it was kind of interesting because he's the leader and not Jason. And so Tommy's just chilling at the beach, and his and Bulk and Skull are there, and Tommy's kind of like a king or like a mob boss, just lounging out, and and just he gets the call and he summons the rest of the Rangers and he leads them. And it was just always an epic, cool episode. I will go into more detail in a further day and stuff. I just don't have the time right now. But it's one of those crossover episodes I really want to talk about. I'm going to skip Turbo. I don't like Turbo. And plus, I don't even think there's a solo Tommy episode in Turbo. I don't like Turbo. So let's go all the way to Dino Thunder. And so Back in Black. This shocked the crap out of me. I was not expecting Tommy to come back as a Power Ranger. It has been many years. He is now a teacher. He is also the mentor of the Dino Rangers. And so, I was never expecting this to happen. He got captured in the last episode. The last episode is kind of like a clip episode. Also the 500th episode where they did like a backstory on all the Rangers. And I love backstories, you know what I'm saying? I love those clip episodes and stuff. And so, after he's freed and everything, he has this giant rock type thing. They blast him. He disappears oh no, he disappeared. But then, oh no, he has chameleon form. He's able to go invisible. And so I think he's chameleon, I think. But anyway, he goes invisible. And so next thing you know, he's morphs into the Black Ranger. I'm just dude, you went from green to white to red and now you're the Black Ranger. The only main ranger color he ain't had was blue. And the dude's costume is awesome. It's black, it has gold trimmings on it and stuff like that, like a diamond pattern. He has a brachio staff. I'm just cool, man. He's an additional ranger, but he's the 4th ranger and stuff. and he just whoops the snot rockets out of them. And it was great seeing him as a Power Ranger again. I was so hyped when this happened. I was just like, yes, this is awesome. And then every time he fights as the Black Ranger, he does these really cool, over elaborate like fight scenes that I just love so much. Sticking with Dino Thunder, let's go to Fighting Spirit. This was an episode where Tommy is still invisible, so Haley tries to restore his body with his gem. Well, it leads him into a coma. I'm like, dude, when are we ever gonna get this dude back? Like, he's been gone for so long and stuff. And so the Rangers, they're stripped of their powers and everything. And then Tommy, inside his mind, is having to fight his past selves. He has to fight the Green Ranger, the White Ranger, and the Red Zeo Ranger. Not the Turbo for whatever reason. And it's an internal struggle. This mental block he's been having ever since, he's been in like Amber and stuff. And it was so awesome to see him fight in his civilian form the past Green, White, and Red Ranger. Their outfits were altered slightly. Like, they look slightly different. Like, they look the same, but there's slight differences. But then when he had to fight like the Green Ranger, I was like, oh man. So this was like cool. He had the Dragon Dagger. He's fighting against. It was an epic episode. And then what do they present him with? His shattered dino gems and stuff, and he put it whole. And this thing, he put him whole, he's back in action. He's back as the Black Ranger. Everybody can see him again. And he calls on his Super Dino mode for the first time. His Super Dino mode is epic. It looks slightly different than that of the other Rangers. And it was just cool to finally see him back again, and also see those past Rangers he had to fight. The last episode Tommy ever featured in, and my last favorite Tommy episode is from a season I can't stand, Power Rangers Ninja Steel. The episode is Dimensions in Danger. It ain't perfect, but it's all right. And what's cool about this is the 25th anniversary, so it's a reunion special. However, even still to this day, a lot of fans aren't necessarily pleased by this episode. We got to see past Rangers. We get to see TJ after all these years. We get to see Cat back and everything, and we also get to see some other people we also get to see what's his name? Wesley and everything from Time Force. And we also got to see Steve Cardenas as Rocky. And we also got to see Car and Yoshi and Lee and Steven and everything. And Jeffrey. And so from what is she? Silver RPM, Yellow Mega Force, White Dino Thunder, and Blue Dino Charge, and then somebody else, Gold Samurai. And so it was cool and everything. We get to see all these people. The sad thing is, the rest of the Rangers did absolutely nothing. They was captured. They was laying on a desk. The much they ever did was just wake up and morph and say a little something at the end. And so fans are really upset about this episode, because with reunion episodes, they're bringing in more and more legacy Rangers, but they're not doing much of nothing. Even Catherine Sutherland has said that she's not returning to Power Rangers unless they actually give her something to do. Laying on a table, opening her eyes and saying one line of dialogue is just not enough, because they have to pay to fly to New Zealand, stay in a hotel, buy their own food, and then fly back. That's too much money just to lay on a table and stuff, and I don't blame her. But as we all know, she's coming back for that 30th year special, so she must have something more to do. Now, what's made this a great Tommy episode is that it's Tommy centered. Now, I still stand by what I've said before. I didn't like that this episode focuses solely on Tommy. It was around the time the Tommy hype was just getting too much for people. And if they're going to bring back past people, they should have done something with them. But what's cool about this episode is we see Tommy running around trying to do what he does best, save the day. And we see all these Tommy clones and everything. And they're created by somebody new called Lord um, Draven. And so he's kind of a take on Lord Draken from, the comics when Tommy turns evil and stuff. And has that mixture of the white and green outfit. And so, like, it was kind of like, oh no, Tommy's evil again. But no, that's not him. It's just a cyborg. And so, like, we see Tommy and we see him fighting, but we see him fighting in all his Ranger forms. How? He has a Master Morpher, and he's the only person to ever have it. So it's kind of like the Mega Force Morphers, where he can just transform into whatever past Ranger that he was a part of. And so, like, it was cool. It was epic. Yeah, the ninjas still, people do a little this and that. They finally got to do something interesting. But it was cool to see. And what was the kicker? He called on the White Falcon Zord. Now, it's not the same one from back in the day. It's all CGI. But that was just like the icing on the top of the cake, or the cherry on top of the cake. And what made it even better is it's revealed he has a kid and everything. And this was a little shocking because, we never knew he was married. So this happened after Dino Thunder and stuff. And we see him and Catherine hold hands and run into the vortex, going back to that of their home. Are they in the same dimension as the Ninja Steel people? I can't remember. But anyways, I think they are in the same dimension. It just sends them back home. So this kind of indicates that maybe him and Kat are married, and maybe she is the mother of his son. Now, Catherine Sutherland has said that, yeah, she is married to him, and that's their son, but it's never truly been confirmed by the writers. I think she just did that just so to make the fans happy because of the comics and stuff. And this was a great Tommy episode because we get to see him morph in different Ranger forms and the Master Morpher, but his life is now complete full circle. We saw him as a teenager, being the new guy, turn into the evil Ranger, then into a good Ranger, losing his powers, turn into another good Ranger, leading the team in different Red Ranger uniforms, coming back as Black, and now full circle married with a kid. And that was just like a cool, like, send-off, And with JDF sadly passing away, at least his last appearance had a really good ending to his character arc, And that's a great thing. So these were my favorite Tommy episodes and stuff. I just want to do like an homage because the dude sadly passed away. And, it devastated the entire fan base and tons of celebrities, too. I didn't know so many celebrities like a huge fan of his, especially in the wrestling community and stuff. So may he rest in peace. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.